Today we're going to read a story called Because a Little Bug Went Ka-Choo by Rosetta Stone. When we're done reading, you're going to do a writing assignment in a style of writing that's similar to this story. So let's begin. You may not believe it, but here's how it happened. One fine summer morning, a little bug sneezed. Ka-choo! Because of that sneeze, a little seed dropped. Because that seed dropped, a worm got hit. Because he got hit, that worm got mad. Because he got mad, he kicked a tree. Because of that kick, a coconut dropped. Because that nut dropped, a turtle got bopped. Because he got bopped, that turtle named Jake fell on his back with a splash in the lake. Because of that splash, a hen got wet. Because she got wet, that hen got mad. Because she got mad, that hen kicked a bucket. Because of that kick, the bucket went up. Because it went up, the bucket came down. Because it came down, it hit Farmer Brown, and that bucket got stuck on his head. Because it got stuck, Farmer Brown phoned for help. Because of his phone call, policemen came speeding. Because they were speeding, they hit a big stone, and so one policeman flew up all alone. Because he flew up, he had to come down. And because he came down on the boat Mary Lou, and because he hit hard, he went right on through. He made a big hole in the boat Mary Lou. Because of that hole, the boat started to sink. And because it was sinking, well, what do you think? Everyone started to yelp, and Mrs. Brown called on the phone for more help. Because of her phone call, more help came, fast. They tied a strong rope to the Mary Lou's mast. And because of that rope, the boat didn't go down, but it had to be fixed, so they started for town. And because they went there, it's true, I'm afraid, they ran right into a circus parade. And that started something they'll never forget, and as far as I know, it is going on yet. And that's how it happened. Believe me, it's true. Because, just because, a small bug went ka-choo! A little bug went ka-choo. You're going to do a writing assignment that's very similar to the type of writing that this author used. You're going to think of a small event that happens that causes something else to happen, and then that causes something else to happen, and then that causes something else to happen, and it keeps going on from there. Your story does not have to be a true story. It can be completely made up. It can be funny, it can be scary, it can be slightly strange. It does have to be school appropriate, and it does have to make sense. Okay? But I hope that when your teacher reads your story, they will either laugh or cry or go, "Oh my," as they're reading what you've written. When you get into your first seesaw slide, this is what you're going to see. It starts your story off for you, and it gives you a format to help you with this writing. So your story will start, "You may not believe it, but here's how it happened. One fine summer morning." And now this green line says something did something. That's just a placeholder there so that you know you need to write something. So you're actually going to delete those words and tell your first event. So I'm going to do this writing right now with you, and I'm going to say, my dog sat down. Okay, then I'm going to come to my next section, the blue section, and it says because already for me, because all of my sections will start with the word because. So I'm going to click there, get my cursor ready to go, and I'm going to repeat the event that was already written, that I already wrote. So my dog sat down, I wrote that up here. I have to write it a second time. Because my dog sat down, comma, and then I hit return for a new line. Because my dog sat down, I shouted, "Good girl." Okay, now I have my first event, then because, and I repeated my first event. Now I've got my second event. I shouted, "Good girl." So I come to my next section, get my cursor ready, and I repeat the second event. Because I shouted, "Good girl," then new line, a bird was startled. So see how this is working. I have something that happened, then I say because, and I repeat the something that happened. Then that made something else happen, and now I use because, and I repeat the something else that happened. Then I say a third thing that happened, and guess what I'm going to write on my next line? That's right, I'm going to repeat it. So I had written a bird was startled. I have to say it again. Because a bird was startled, it flew from its nest. Now again, I'm going to take this event and I'm going to repeat it with my because. It flew from its nest. Now, at the end of this screen, but you'll notice over here I have a whole bunch more screens available. So this story should not take only one screen. It should go on for a little bit of time, right? It should get bigger and bigger and wilder as the story goes. So because it flew from its nest, it shook a branch. Okay, so here my last event on this screen is it shook a branch. I'm going to come to the next screen and notice how it's different. It doesn't have the intro stuff anymore. It's giving you just a bunch of becauses for you to continue your story. So on the last screen, I ended with it shook a branch. So that's how I start. Because it shook a branch, I don't know, an acorn fell off. Okay, and I could keep going. I'm not going to make you sit and watch me write a whole story, but I am going to talk to you about the ending. So first of all, you can add as many screens as you want. So over here on the side, there's going to be my example at the top, and then a first screen, and then you're going to have a whole bunch of these second, third, fourth screens. They all look like this one that we're on right now. When you feel your story is done, you do not have to use all the screens, or maybe you'll be like, Miss Grubbs, you didn't give me enough. You can add more screens. You know you can do that by coming here to the three dots, click and hit duplicate page, and it'll give you another page just like this one. But when you feel your story is done, you need to wrap it up. You should not just end with an event, right? I should not end my story because it shook from a branch and acorn fell off, and then my story's done. That's not a very good ending for a story. In the book that we read, the author brought us back to the beginning to end the story. So the author said, and that's how it happened. Believe me, it's true. Because, just because, a small bug went ka-choo. Right? So when you get to the end of your story, you need to bring us back to the beginning. So I'm going to write something like, that's how it happened. And how it all went down. Whoops, so I spelled down correctly. And all just because a dog sat down. Okay, so I might at this point need to come in and maybe delete some of these other things, right, to clean this up. You can see my words are running together. I can move this down now so that your teacher can read it clearly. The last thing to tell you is that each screen has a box for an illustration. You have three options for your illustrations. You can draw a picture here on Seesaw, you can draw a picture on a piece of paper and then take a photo of it and upload it, or you can add a photo that you just take from around your house. So there's my dog who sat down just for this story, okay? So remember that you're using repetition, and make sure you write something creative and interesting for your teacher. Can't wait to see what you write.